Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Hey Soph.
Yeah?
Do you know anybody who is a single tear crier?
I know it's not me. If I'm going to cry, I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to do one Paisley tear.
No, that just seems very almost like cartoon-like or something, doesn't it? Like a very stupid.
Maybe it's a man thing, but men should be encouraged to cry if they want
Yeah.
to cry. You know, you can cry if you want, Paul. It's okay.
Well, might be crying because of this. I'll apologise to everybody. There's some. You can probably hear now. There's some banging going on next door, but it's not drums, sadly. It's people putting in carpet next door. So, yeah, I might have to deal with that on the backing track. But anyway, for the fun that we're going to have today, we're joined by very special guests from Film Vloggers. We've got Ben and Fiona with us. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And thank you for joining us. This seems like a very good episode to have you on for. A very, shouty, sweary character we have in the film, and we have a very shouty, sweary co-host on your side.
Yeah, Ben, you have to rein it in for this one, okay?
Very good. Very, very funny, Fiona. I think we're referring to you, actually.
And can I actually just say I was the one to pick this film. He was in Bruges or this one, and I said Whiplash.
Oh, both good films.
This is just better.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no clue what was going on until Paul said what film I was watching. You didn't even tell me the options.
No, I tend
Usually,
to do that. Yeah.
usually
Keep
it's
it a
opening
surprise.
credits, and I'm just like, oh, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. I was like, then I was like, oh, is this the film where the death and the playing drums? Because you were on about this film for ages, and I didn't want to watch it.
The Sound of Metal, but I kind of vetted it beforehand, and it was like it's not actually too much involvement with drums, like in a band or anything like that. It's more like the aftermath of. I don't know if you've seen the film actually.
Brilliant.
It's really good, but. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I've been kind of putting it every time you say it. It's just, I don't know. It's just you haven't really sold it to me, so I keep putting it on the back burner because Paul has to kind of give me a little bit of a background, or I'm like, let me look at the cover, and I'm like, literally, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover or a film, but I'm like, let me look at the cover, and then you read the back to me for some reason.
Ours goes by: is it a foreign film? Does it have subtitles? Is it silent? I'm not watching it.
I did have those rules. I did, but then Paul, I don't know, somehow you broke that down. Where now
There's so much you're missing out with the fact that if it's just got subtitles and you're like a bit snobbish about it, but there's so much good content if you watch something filmed with subtitles. So generally, time I know you guys did City of God and you really enjoyed it, didn't you, Fiona?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And that other one,
Surprise, surprise! Yes,
what was
very
that
good
one
film.
that I liked? The Chinese one, Parasite.
Is it Korean?
Korean, yeah.
Yeah, it's Korean.
If it's
whatever.
Parasite, it's Korean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
very good,
yes.
mate.
Parasite. Yes, Parasite's very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Again, you were hesitant. You were like, oh, I'm not too sure. I've got to read subtitles and all that stuff. Watched it.
Squid Game. Enjoyed Squid Game.
Yeah.
That subtitles.
Yeah. Decent series. Yeah. But
I'm evolving.
Yes.
That's what you did to me, though, isn't it? You're still making me evolve somehow to things I don't want to really be watching.
But I think you're all the better for it. I'd like to think.
I don't think if you were here though, I'd actually go, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to put a subtitle movie on and watch it myself. I don't think I'd do that.
I wouldn't even think about doing it.
No.
Well, you might do now.
No. Not at all. No. No.
Yeah.
Well, my work's not done then. I need to keep going. Start getting you in front of more and more foreign films.
Don't bother.
There's so many. It's loads.
But today's film isn't a foreign film. It is Damien Chazelle's Whiplash from 2014.
Okay, so Paul, you said that this film is directed, or what was it?
Directed.
I never
By the
know.
same guy who did La La Land.
So you got me into this state of thinking, oh, okay, musical, lovely bright music, bright colours, a romance. Obviously, in La La Land, you've got Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. So I know it's not going to be exactly the same film. I'm aware,
Mhm.
not that naive, but I just thought there'd be similar concepts where this is quite dark in comparisons, and there isn't really a musical in here.
More instrumental, more than anything.
Yeah. So I feel like you put me off guard already before I'd even come to the film with La La Land. I think I shouldn't have known that information.
Okay. I just thought he'd be like, ooh.
Yeah,
it's
what?
like-
And
like
then it was like,
the same
oh,
techniques and stuff, with his.
was there something I missed?
No, not especially. Obviously, it was that there was this film was actually like a short film before, which is when I think you were upstairs at this point, and just before we started watching the film,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, on the extras on the Blu-ray, it was like, oh, there's Whiplash, but like a short version, and it was very much similar for when Neiman was in the room with others, and he's like, oh, can you give me a B on the key, the piano or the drum, the other instruments and whatever. And then the other similar scenarios that play out in that bit where Fletcher comes in and says, oh, someone's out of tune, and he's going through everybody, so there's that kind of stuff. But
I don't think I could handle the pressure of this film if I was in this situation. I'd be like, do you know what? I'm sacking it off. And whereas I can imagine Paul and Ben would be the kind of Andrew Neiman where they want to get everything perfect and kind of strive for that. I'd have been like, right, get my bags, I'm going. I'm not good enough.
I'd be down to pub as well. Then.
Yeah.
I'd be just like, fuck you, Fletcher. I'm out of here.
I could not handle that amount of pressure. I could not. I'd crack.
No,
It's just too intense. I don't think I've ever liked anything as much to give it all of that.
No.
Like, no. Not for me.
And I would have not done just one single tear if he was shouting at me like that. The drums would have been floating away. I'd have literally been in a puddle of tears. I can't cope with somebody yelling at me like that. You're not going to get anything productive.
I think the chair might have been flung in a different direction if it was me. Possibly.
No,
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Yeah, I feel when if he started slapping me, that's when I'm not a violent man, but I think I get slapped in the face.
I know, and then you're just taking it, isn't it? It's just a bit like it's obviously funny as a spectator watching him like going off his rocker at him, but if that was me in that situation, I would be like breaking down and.
Wouldn't you want to slap him back though?
Yeah.
Because that's literally what I was like. I was waiting for him to slap him back
Yeah.
because there's so many times when somebody's slapping you and you take it.
Yeah.
There's somewhere in
You
you
just
that
go like,
wants to go boom
yeah,
back.
back at him,
Like
yeah.
I know he gets there further on in the end, but I would have cracked a lot sooner.
His reaction is probably like most people's though, because if we were all in the same situation, we probably would have been so frustrated with somebody treating us like that we probably would have ended up in tears, anyways, and then reacted. So a lot of people would have been the exact same as him, just so frustrated. Some dickhead is talking to me like this, and then he didn't know how to react, so he just cried.
Yeah, but the reason he's at the school is for this moment, isn't he? Yeah, I'm assuming ideally he didn't want to be slapped in the face by Fletcher. But the fact that Fletcher's invited him into the studio band is like he's living his dream at the moment, and he had this little pep talk outside. I think that was clever as well, wasn't it? Because maybe if he doesn't have the pep talk when he's like, oh, so family, musicians, all this, and he was like trying to be nicey, and he was like, just do your best. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
If he didn't have the pep talk, maybe he would have. No, I still think he would have reacted the same. I still think he would have accepted the slaps and basically, oh, it's my fault. Sorry, I'll do better next time. But I think the pep talk just got him on side enough for him to accept that he's lucky that he's there. He's really happy about it. Getting lobbed the chair, yeah, okay, fine, I'll take that. Didn't take my head off, great. I think it's different, isn't it? Because if you're choosing to be there and this is your dream, it will take a long time you have to get broken down over a period of time before you then go, do you know what, I've had enough. And it only happens right at the end. Has the car crash, shrugs that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how? I don't even know.
Only when he goes,
Yeah.
And it's only when he goes, look, Naaman, you're done. That's it. He knows when that's it. That's completely, there's no coming back from that. That's when he finally snaps. It takes all that to get him to that point, which is, to us, watching it, it's like, there's no way. Surely you'd be out of there after the first slap and the first rehearsal. But to him, it's like, no, this is where I want to be. And he wants to, it's this whole thing about proving himself, his family, and all this stuff as well. So.
Yeah, because there's there's the dinner scene, isn't there, where he's kind of like talking with them about what do you do, Andrew? And it's like, I play drums, and then kind of like conversation moves on to your friends or whoever they are at the dinner table, like, how's your football?
I wonder if the siblings,
Going.
that's what I kind
Yeah,
of got the vibe of.
something like that.
It's
I got about sibling
Yeah.
vibes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh, your brothers are doing a lot better
Yeah.
than you. And it kind of reminds me of you a little bit, Paul, because you're quite in a creative role.
Mhm.
So if you don't know, Paul does obviously animation, and he does the designs for like this American company, Food Fight Studios.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't understand the amount of stuff that you have to do to
Mhm.
get that done. And I think it is one of those where it is a kind of siblingly thing. So your brother is in like a proper job, not meaning that in a bad way. And I think that's how it's
Yeah.
seen. He gets the perks of like holidays and all like that,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're more like a freelance kind of
Yeah,
ish.
it's a weird situation,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think so. I kind of related to you a little bit in that film, in
Mhm.
that scenario where you sat there kind of trying to say how well you're doing, but nobody really thinking it's a job.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like,
Yeah.
what can you show for it? I don't know. It's
But I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? Whereas, like, if you're going into uni or college studying like music, people go, "Oh, right, okay,
yeah.
you're going into these courses
just
and you're not going to
gonna
get anywhere."
yeah.
Yeah, it's the
'Cause
same with
Studying
art.
art.
It's kind of like this when you start out, isn't it? It's like, when I started with doing design course, it's like trying to find a job, that kind of thing. It's tough market anyway, and at that point as well, back in 2010, whatever, like there was no jobs for.
We were in a
design
recession at that point, though, as well.
But yeah, so just tough. So obviously trying to explain to people as well about that kind of situation for when you were like, oh, what are you doing?
You do remind me a little bit of Andrew Newman in this, because you wouldn't give up.
Mm-hmm. I won't go to the extent of having my hands bleeding. Though,
no, you're an absolute wimp actually with that one cut, and you're like,
It's the title, though, isn't it? That's what it is. It's when you, and also for you, Paul, you're following your passion, aren't you? So you're lucky enough, and it's very hard for people to get a job that they like, let alone do a job that they like, and it's actually a passion of theirs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very different where someone comes in, you sit down at the family table, and you're like, oh, so how's your stuff going? Well, I'm a doctor. Oh, I'm your heart surgeon, and it's like, okay, lovely. You worked hard for that, but it's something where, is it their passion? Maybe they've just been led down that path because it's their dad was a doctor, their mum was a doctor, so they've just gone, well, that's the natural progression. That's what I do. And you always get that a lot, don't you, within families, where there's always like a black sheep. There's always someone who goes off and maybe follows a passion a bit more, does something that's not off the beaten track, away from what the family are doing. And they're always, no, I don't mean always, but this sort of setting at this dinner table's seen quite a lot, isn't it? Where it's like, in America as well, where it's all about football. Americans love their football.
Yeah, they do.
So anytime you talk about football, it's like, oh yeah, let's listen to what this guy's doing.
yeah.
And as Neiman points out, he's like, yeah, it's Division 3. Like if we weigh up the two, what I'm doing, I'm at Studio One with Fletcher, and you're playing Division 3 football. Like, if we're going to look at it from that perspective, yeah, I'm doing a bit better actually. But never mind. Yeah, so how's the football going? It's the title, isn't it? As well, I think the titles. If you say, oh, I'm a freelance, or I'm doing something creative, as opposed to, oh, I'm a labourer. I'm working long days doing that. It's like, okay, it's one of those where it can be, people can sort of look down at that a little bit, can't they? Just because it doesn't sound like it's a real job in the eyes of some people, which obviously is just not true, is it? It's just, I'm going to start saying I'm a podcaster. I'm a full-time podcaster.
I am not a full-time podcaster. No. I am not.
That's what I'm going to start saying.
If you don't mind me asking, what do you guys do for work? 9 to 5?
I am a nurse by background, but I am doing disability assessor at the moment.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'm a personal trainer, believe it or not.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, so, but not similar to you in terms of the jobs we do, Paul, but like, I'm kind of following my passion to a point.
Okay.
So yeah, which is, I can't complain. It's, I guess with COVID and everything, it's been a bit troublesome at times, but yeah, it's something that I guess is it's not in the arts, I suppose, but it's something that I've been fortunate enough to follow because I quite enjoy it. So
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm in one of those 9 to 5 jobs. I'm not going to say I love my job. I shouldn't really say that, should I? I might get fired. I'm just an accounts payable clerk. So I pay loads of people. I didn't do well in maths at school, so I don't know how I've actually got into my job. I did study photography at uni initially, didn't I?
Yeah.
But I'm a bit awkward and I don't like photographing people. So the only other thing is to photograph landscapes. So I don't really know why I chose to do it.
That's what people do at uni, though, isn't it? Some people go to uni and they do something to set them up for future roles.
Yeah.
And some people use that time to do something that they may be interested in, but not necessarily will use going forward as a career.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is the end of the world, really.
No.
I don't. It obviously very much depends what you're doing, but when you're 18, 19, a lot of people like you're not thinking about what you're doing when you're 30. You're like, oh, I want to go to uni and have a bit of fun and do a course and get a good grade, but you're not. It's different for everyone. Like, some people are like conditioned, aren't they, from an early age? Like, right, I want to do this, and I'm going to go to uni for 5 years.
How they know that, like the fact that he's got this passion for drums. Like, where did that come from? How did he know he wanted to do that? Because even when I went to uni, I was like, I've been taking some pictures. I quite like doing that, but I don't really know what I want to do. And still now, like, if somebody said, "What would be your dream job?" I would like, well, could somebody just give me loads of money and I don't have to do anything? That would be my dream.
Lie on a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
So there was that. Go back to the film. Obviously, when they're in the room and in the music room, and he's kind of Fletcher's like pointing out the whole somebody's out of tune and going through all that kind of stuff, and it's like the silence you have at that point. You can like cut the tension with the knife kind of thing, and it's those situations, and it's like you don't want to breathe, you don't want to. In the classroom when somebody's telling you off and you just smirk and then you get the backlash from the teacher and stuff like that. It's just a horrible situation. The whole thing is meant to feel uncomfortable, and then it's like, and then the whole thing with it is making him doubt yourself. Like, are you out of tune or aren't you? Or
that would definitely be me. I'm not gonna lie. I would be that person. Like, am I? And I don't know anymore. And also, I didn't know when he played it if he was or not.
Yeah, so I'm not a particularly good ear for that kind of music stuff, so I wouldn't know myself, to be fair.
But the thing is, though, because the students, they all know what Fletcher is like. Fletcher, he's extremely bad-tempered. He is so unpredictable. We just seen him, as Ben said, sweet-talking him 2 seconds ago. Next thing, he's flinging a fucking chair across the room about to hit him in the head. So I think that's why people don't want to do it, because they just know he's going to go off on one. And that's the main issue. And they're just like Karen, like little children. They're just like, how do I react? I don't say anything. And the poor fucking fella, it wasn't even his.
I know,
in the end. He was, not fair. Yeah.
And so I don't get why they got rid of him, really. But obviously they were joking about him being overweight and everything, like going to McDonald's or something like that.
Yeah, there's no fucking Mars bar down there or whatever it is.
Like, there's a shame. But then,
it's because he didn't realize he wasn't out of. He said that he didn't know whether he was in tune or not, and that was worse than actually being out of tune and not owning up to it.
I think he probably did know he was in tune. He just didn't want to say it, just in case that he wasn't. And
probably,
maybe, yeah.
The thought of being told you're wrong, it backclashed, anyways, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I really couldn't stand Fletcher. I could not. Like, he's so intense.
He's one of those characters that you kind of love to hate, I guess.
He makes you go on a roller coaster journey. Like, he could create like really bad anxiety. Like, one minute you're thinking, I'm in his good books, and the next he's like absolutely hates.
He just goes that, doesn't he? Kind of like there's a couple of moments where you kind of see that sentimental side. I think there's like a thing in one of like the console or something. He's like saying hi to this young guy and this young girl. It's like, oh, how are you doing? It's like, last time I saw you with a thing. It's like really sweet. And Andrew's like looking at him like down the corridor. It's like, oh, he's not so bad. And then he comes back. It's like, right, fuckers or whatever. Let's get your shit together and we're going to do this performance.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure out of the classroom he's a decent bloke.
Yeah.
And I think, like, similar to you guys, I think up until towards the end, there wasn't a lot of redeeming features, was there, for Fletcher? You were like, this guy's a monster. You could look at the whole thing about the reasons why he's doing it, and then you find out when they have that chat at the jazz club.
Yeah.
That it makes a little bit more sense when he says, look, at the end of the day, I was just trying to push kids beyond what they thought was possible.
Yes.
And they're not going to do it themselves. so I'm not gonna apologize for doing that. Which is like, okay, fair enough. But I guess with that, there is that, it is quite selfish in many ways, because you think, oh, okay, well, that's okay, that makes a bit of sense, because he's trying to find the next superstar, he's trying to find the next guy, the Charlie Parker, the Louis Armstrongs, but he's doing it also for his own gratification, though, isn't he? Because he wants to, because if he finds this Charlie Parker, great, but then it's going to go back and they're going to speak to Neyman in the future when he's, he's selling out arenas or he's in big bands and stuff. And they're like, oh, where did it all start for you? Where did you learn your trade? How did you get to this point? Oh, well, it was Fletcher at the school. He did it for me. I owe everything to him. So there is that little bit of, it's selfish a little bit, because he's doing it and he's trying to play as, oh, but I'm doing them a favor. I'm trying to find someone and try and make them great. You're like, okay, that makes sense. But then it's like, well, yeah, but also a lot of it's down to you as well. A lot of it's for your own self-reward, because you want to be linked with who this next Charlie Parker is that you try and find. So, there is that part where I was like, okay, that's, at least you've explained yourself. But still, I don't think it's enough to take away from the fact that he's a monster. Like, he is a monster. He's dreadful. He's terrible, isn't he?
Yeah, but as Andrew said, how far do you go? Like, how far do you push somebody to go? As, what did he say? He said, you'll just discourage the next Charlie Parker. And he was just like, no, he'd never be discouraged. But you've got a teacher who is physically and emotionally abusing students and verbally abusing students.
Yeah.
So that's probably a bit too far to try and find the next big thing.
But then that's the thing, though. In 10 years from now, if Neyman became the best drummer in the world, is he going to go, oh, well, Fletcher, yeah, what an arsehole. Yeah, he was horrible to me. And then, if someone would go, oh, yeah, kind of, that sounds dreadful, your experience, but you're the best drummer in the world now. Would you have been that without Fletcher? No, probably not. So it's that, isn't it? You can't justify his actions, because his actions are unjustifiable. He's like I said, he's a monster. He's terrible. But the reasons why he's doing it make a little bit of sense. And in his mind, they make perfect sense. So that's why he says, oh, why would I apologise? If anything, I'm trying to make these kids better. So if anything, they owe me. Not the other way around. What's the problem?
Now, my problem is, I understand that he might want to make some kids better, but why isn't he the next one then? Why hasn't he done that for himself? So that's like where I kind of look and go, well, all you are is a teacher. Weren't you good enough to be this amazing superstar? So since you know it all, why aren't you doing it? And I know always people say, don't they, like, if you're teaching it, you can't really do it as good as if,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, who didn't push him then? Is that what he regrets? Like, he didn't get that
maybe
push,
he had a similar situation, and then he dropped out, and he's maybe resenting that, so he's kind of like pushing that on his students to be like, right, I fucked up here, so now I'm going to try and push you to the thing like I should have done, perhaps, down, for future.
Still not excusable for the way he acts.
No, you can. I mean, I've never had teachers that are that ridiculous. Obviously, they might be trying to push you, but never to that extent of verbally.
Never had a teacher chuck anything at me, to be fair. I do know my school was strict. Really?
Oh.
Yeah, I had a teacher. I was in second class.
Good for them.
I was in second class, so I was probably about 8, maybe. Yeah, I would have been doing my communion. So I was about 8 years of age, and my dog, I was doing my homework the night before, and it was a wet evening, and I was lying on the floor doing my homework, and he came in and he walked on my copy. And the next day, my teacher, she opened up the copy, and she realised there was dog prints all over it, and she flung it down. It didn't hit me, but she flung it down to the table, and it nearly hit one of my friends. Yeah. I was also hit with a ruler before on my bum by one of the nuns.
I'm sure you deserve that as well.
I did. Yeah. I was swinging on my chair.
There you go.
So yeah, I've been through abuse at school.
Yes, very similar to Whiplash. Then, so is this a bio? Or
It's in comparison. Yeah.
Did it make you want to
better yourself?
Better, yeah. Did you learn from that behaviour, the way they acted towards you?
Not at all. I was on the floor doing my homework that night again. Dog walking around me. You think I'd give in to her? Not a hope.
Another standout scene is when which if I was the other members of the band, I'd be really pissed off when all the three drummers are like on rotation, like, oh, you've got to get this right to the speed of my tempo or whatever, and it's like, right, no, you next, right, keep going round and round, and we're going to be here all night pretty much. And it's like, I'd be so annoyed for them, and also I kind of annoyed for like, how are you not getting whatever he's saying to get a rhythm or whatever he needs, he's asking, and it's just so aggravating to be in that
Because
situation.
it
I
was
think
like 2 o'clock, wasn't it? Once they'd kind
Yeah,
of, and then they
wrapped
had
up.
to then do the lesson and
yeah, it's
everything.
like, oh, carry on now. We've got the rhythm.
I mean, but the poor guys that had to put up with that, like the hands are bleeding, and like the fact that you're having to drum that hard,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I wouldn't want to be doing that. I know drumming is quite intense, and obviously
Yeah.
it's your arms and everything like that. You've got to have a bit of strength behind you to whack
Mhm.
it. But I don't know. I wouldn't want to be kind of carrying on and carrying on and carrying on. It's like, that's like a workout, isn't it?
Yeah, the amount of sweat they had on
Relatable.
the t-shirts and everything. Yeah,
But it's kind of the manipulative side of abuse as well from Fletcher, because he's been quite sympathetic to the other players. He's, oh guys, take a break. You know, I'm really sorry about this. You know, and then the other side of it, he's just like, come on, you fucking cunts, let's just get on with it. What does he call him? The Irish Nick fucking Paddy Cracker. I thought that was great.
Lovely.
To the redhead guy, and it was just like, you've got him screaming, then you've got him being quite sympathetic, and you're just like, he's just been so manipulative to other players, and he's just amazing. I'm sorry, I love him. I do.
That would be your teaching style, would it? If you're
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be a bit of a I'd be a bit of a Fletcher.
well, it wasn't even about getting the beat, though, was it? I don't think. I'm pretty sure they, one of them got the beat or the rhythm 6 hours before. It was just trying to break them down, wasn't it?
yeah. I had ear listening to it, thinking it's like, I'm sure that sounds very similar to what they just did, or maybe just off ever so
Didn't
slately.
sound
But
any different to
but
me
again,
whatsoever.
it's just a situation where I think he's just putting him through the ringer, really, just to see if they'll break. But I think I would have
It's how far
broken
can you
after
push
like
someone?
an hour maybe of doing that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just to
And
toughen him up,
I'm all
wasn't it?
for,
He
like-
said, didn't he? Also, sorry, Sophie.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm all for kind of developing, improving yourself. Like, that's brilliant, and you need to have somebody to kind of push you along, and like have a coach or a mentor. But they can be doing that in an encouraging way instead of like literally making you have an anxiety attack. Like the thought of going, like the fact when it's like the show thing, whatever I forgot what it was called then, and he's rushing to get there, and he wants to play his spot because he thinks he's earned it.
Yeah, yeah.
This scene is like, bloody hell, this is like really intense, because like this is his be all and end all. He doesn't care even if he dies,
Yeah.
as
He's
long as
broken
his
leg.
bum is on that seat
Yeah.
to drum. Like, who would do that? Like, if literally I'm thinking, right, okay, he's going to get taken into hospital now. That's it. He's missed his chance this time. But he carries on. I'm like, what the hell? Why would you?
He's just so determined to do that. And he's like, no major injuries, like just walk it
Well,
off.
yeah,
and
but
just
his
go
hands
in.
absolutely kind of.
Well, he drops the stick
like
as well, I believe,
shaking.
doesn't he? Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's all part of it, though, isn't it? Because he's come that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? He's just not going to sack it off. He's it's only 2 blocks away. I'll be all right. Just limp to it. I'll get there.
He's got that
I'm
all
already
adrenaline
late.
pumped.
But that's
Literally
what
just an
Fletcher's done.
Arctic
It's got him to
truck.
that point, isn't it? Got him
bashing
to that
into
point
you.
where he's like, he's got to. What's he going to do? And that's why, as I said, that's the turning point. It's the car crash and everything. But that's why he then finally loses it, because he's like, this is it. I've given you everything I've got. I've just been in a fucking car crash.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't. I'm done. And you're saying I'm done. Well, there you go then. Well,
That's it.
if I'm done, I may as well let out my frustrations at Fletcher. But
I love that.
yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. But it's, as Fletcher said, the drumming stuff we just spoke about, and having the what's the other guy called? The Irish guy?
Fucking Paddy Cracker.
Right.
I think it's
Yeah, that's the one.
Ryan Connolly. I think I got his name down.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
the
the one.
one, yeah.
Yeah. He said after they have the chat at the jazz club, he says, look, he was just there to motivate you, so
Yeah.
that's why. Yeah, because he goes, why don't you just get him? He can play. He was all right. He was crap. He wasn't very good. He was just there to motivate you. And I think that's what was going on with that drum stuff, wasn't it? When they were playing till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe they just couldn't find his tempo. Maybe, but it was more like, okay, I know I want Neiman to do the part, but she's going to break him down and just keep going and going and going. And I like it when they finally get the tempo, and then he brings everyone else and he's like, okay, we can start now. We can start practicing.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck me, yeah, okay. It's
But apparently during the bit of trivia, I passionate to a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
sure.
trivia.
Watch out, everyone.
During the more intense scenes, the director, he actually wouldn't shout cut, and he was actually making what do you call him, Miles Teller. He was actually making him drum until he felt physically exhausted that he couldn't go on, so it would look better on screen.
Well,
Which is really
that
good.
definitely comes across that way. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
His bloody ears are sweating. I didn't know that was possible.
How much drumming did he do? Did you find trivia on that?
So
about how much it was actually him?
he actually did most of the drumming
Mhm.
in the film, but they only used 40% of his drumming on the actual soundtrack. He actually did receive blisters while filming, and that was some of his blood that was actually on the, what do you call them, drum things what are they called? Drumsticks, that's the ones. That was actually some of his blood on that.
There you go.
So was that
Trivia queen.
called method acting, isn't it? I guess in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miles Teller, he was actually been playing drums since he was 15 years of age, whereas Ryan Connolly, he actually never played drums before. They had to get someone in to teach him to play the drums for his 2 things that he does.
So Miles could play drums then a little bit.
Miles could play drums since he was 15,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
And then he got 4 hours of lessons a day for 3 days a week in preparation for the role. Now.
Learn something.
Well, it's not bad, is it? It's not bad learning the drums, getting paid to act.
Mm.
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, yeah.
Acting next to J.K. Simmons, worse things to be doing, isn't it? I suppose. I'll do it. They asked me. Why not?
I don't want open wounds on my hand. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I never learned how to play an instrument, to be honest. Not properly, anyway. One of those things where it's just, you always shouldn't you, if you can. What about you guys? Did you play any instruments at all?
Can I say first? I don't know
Yeah.
if yours is any better than mine.
Okay.
I think
Go on.
I'm worse than you. All I can do is play Hot Cross Buns on the recorder.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
The recorder.
that's about the level I got to as well, actually. Yeah. That's where I peaked. I needed Fletcher. If I'd have had a Fletcher, I could have been the best recorder player in the world.
I tried to play the tin whistle. Didn't succeed.
The tin whistle.
Yeah, the tin whistle, the long thing. It's an Irish thing. It goes doo 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 doo.
Jesus.
Yeah. Have you never heard of a tin whistle?
No.
Well, no.
Vaguely,
If
but
Oh,
I
lads,
wouldn't
you have to Google it.
if I saw it, I'd probably.
It's like
yeah.
It's like a long thing. It's like a long skinny thing. It's got loads of holes on it.
So it's not a
And you
recorder.
go like no, and you go. Doo 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 doo.
What's the difference between that and a recorder?
A recorder? What's a recorder?
It's a wooden one, isn't it? Like a recorder. It's like wooden.
There's ones that they're like plastic.
Or maybe a
ones.
wooden thing and a recorder are the same things. Or a recorder and a tin whistle are the same thing. I actually think I may have Googled this before. Possibly. I think they may be the same thing.
Okay.
It's like a whistle at the top.
unless-
It's like a
Bombshell,
whistle at the
everyone.
top, yeah, for a recorder.
Yeah. And then it's just stuck to a tin. A bit of tin. And then you go doo 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 doo.
I'm not sure about the tin part.
No.
The tin part's the
Because it's made out of
confusing
tin.
Ours isn't.
part. Right. I don't think I never played a tin recorder.
No, it's just
Yeah, I'm
recorded.
not Irish.
Right.
God.
No.
It's an Irish thing.
It sounds similar.
Yeah.
It sounds similar. But I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
What about you, Paul?
Well, I tried to and failed miserably to try. I thought playing the bass was cool. Like when if there was around the time when Scott Pilgrim was a big thing. Obviously the film came out, and thinking, oh, that'll be easy to play than the guitar, because obviously a lot more chords and things you have to do with him. Bass is just going dun, 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 dun thing, but I didn't have the patience for that either. So it's like, so I got that after graduation, I think, and then it's like it just sat in a corner for God knows how long, because it's one of those things you have to play every day for a little bit while to get any sort of use out of it, and I didn't have the time and patience to do that.
Luckily,
so.
I haven't seen this, so I'm guessing you sold it before you
Yeah,
met
yeah,
me.
yeah. And I did play the keyboard a little bit. Like I had lessons for that to no avail. Really, it was kind of just, I don't even really know why I had them.
What song could you play? At least I could play Hot Cross Buns.
I try to think now, like Fields of Gold, which I think isn't that a Sting song? I think I could be wrong about that.
That is,
but I think
Sting. Yeah, pretty sure it's Sting.
That's all I can really remember, and maybe 8 Days a Week by the Beatles. I think it's not very good. It was kind of just like do 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 do, and like part of it, and that was about it.
You're doing better than us over here.
Yeah, you're closer to stardom than we did, by the sounds of it. So, good for you.
I thought I was going to be the worst one.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, isn't it? Where I know Tom, who I do some episodes with sometimes. He's a violinist, and
Oh, I'd love to do a violin.
yeah, I think he
Or
got.
harp.
I think
I
he
would
got
love
reasonably
to.
high with it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he got reasonably high. I think he. I always try to get him to bust it out at university. He never did it though. I was just like, can you?
Bust it out.
Well,
Bust out a violin.
Well, because I asked him, I was like,
Violin.
can you play a bit for me? And he was like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. No, I'm not. Because he thought I was taking the piss. I wasn't. I was quite interested to, see him and
Yeah.
hear it. But he never did it for me, unfortunately. I might be seeing him soon, so I might try again. I might try and get him to bust it out for
Might
me
be
again.
rusty.
Yeah, so violin is like one of those things that like, but you obviously at the beginning you'd be scraping the strings, won't you, to begin? So it's horrible. So it takes a lot of practice to get it sounding right. You can't like really plug in headphones to drone it out for anybody else who's listening. Everybody else has got to put up with the sound of that going on. So it'd be something I would like if I had the patience, but I know I don't. So
Soundproof the room, shall we?
or the drums is kind of like a good concept to do if like, because I listen to a lot of music and being like, oh, that sounds like a good beat, but I know for a fact I'd be like, I'm missing all.
If you could play the drums, I'd be really impressed.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
quite cool.
yeah.
You see people, on stage with their top off,
Yeah.
the drums. They're like, oh, yeah, and, of course, like playing the guitar and doing all that. It's cool. But anytime you see someone playing the drums and doing all the fast stuff, you're like, oh,
They're hot.
that's pretty good. I wanna do that. Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
It's just one of those things where if you ever, you'd be sort of reluctant to make your kid play the drums. You'd have to have like a garage, or you'd have to have a separate building
definitely.
where you could go in and just go, right,
5 miles
and you
down
go,
the road.
like, keep the noise down. Because that would be, I don't know if I'd struggle with that somewhat.
It's like that Love Actually. Do you know when he's playing the drums up in his room?
Yeah.
Oh, God, he wouldn't be doing that in my house.
Well, that's why you send them off to these music schools and get Fletcher to do it. This is why. You go, right, if you want to play the drums, go and see Fletcher.
Yeah.
Off with you.
Go and become the best in the world. Come back when you've done that.
Yeah.
See you later.
Come back with the millions.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's what it's all about.
Can I jump to the end yet? I always like going to the end.
Yeah. We're jumping around all over the place, but yeah, so go to the...
Because I've been holding on to this
Yeah,
and then I've been like...
Okay, yeah.
Such a child. So, the ending, when he's obviously goes on and he's playing with this jazz band with Fletcher. You did joke, Paul, which made me laugh, with Fletcher's job of being... What is he when he stood at the front just waving his arm around?
Oh, conductor.
Yeah. And he's just kind of going like this, isn't he? And it's not really hard. Well, I can't.
Well, even he said, but he's probably being, in his arrogance, he's kind of like, oh, it's anybody with a left brain could just be a conductor.
It's easier than playing an instrument, I can assume.
Yeah, but you've kind of control like what instrument is playing at that point, isn't that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's not just a case of just waving your arms around and hoping for the best, unfortunately.
Like in a cartoon.
Yeah. Make it look so easy.
But I think this is the best part for Newman in this scene. I love how he kind of goes, right, he seems to be a bit startled when he kind of says, oh, we're playing this other song that he doesn't have the
sheet music for you.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. And he flummoxes his way and he walks off, doesn't he? But then something in him makes him go, right, I'm going back.
Yeah.
And he kind of outsmarts Fletcher, and I really like that.
Catching him off guard, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying that to Ben, when he comes back on stage, he cuts through, starts playing the drums, and then he mouths like, fuck you to Fletcher. I was just like, that is amazing.
Love it.
It's brilliant.
Because that's what it is, because he needed that moment to kind of have, right, okay. I love how his hug from his dad helped him to get to that point. Needed that support, and then he was like gonna fight back, and he has like this kind of stardom moment. But the way it ends for me, I don't know, because I thought Fletcher was gonna go and punch him, because the way he does something, doesn't he, where his arm kind of
up to him, and then they're like almost the symbol almost like hits him in the face or something, or it's like he purposely like goes like get away kind of thing or something like that.
But then it kind of comes back to Fletcher's face, and you can see it's like kind of pans onto his eyes and he's smiling. So it's like, oh, okay, it's actually happened and it's ended okay. They seem to be in an all right place, because Fletcher thinks he's done his bit of pushing him this far.
Yeah.
But I did wonder if he was going to just kind of hit him on stage initially.
Yeah, it goes back to it, doesn't it? Again, about because even that story about the Charlie Parker and how he went on stage and how he played a horrible set and got laughed off and he went away, and then for a year he practiced every day and came on and did the greatest solo ever seen. So even before he does this jazz band at the end, he plants that. He tells him that story about. He tells him a story about how he got the cymbal thrown at his head. So he had that in his mind, and then he tells him the story about how he went off and he was humiliated, then left stage and said, then he did a year's of practice, came back, and then did the greatest solo ever. So there's that as well. So he's got, when he walks off and he's been humiliated, he's not being laughed at, but there's muted claps from the crowd.
What the fuck?
He then has that. He has that in his head as well. So it's. I don't think Fletcher planned for this. I think Fletcher in that moment was like, yeah, I'm going to get this guy back. But then again, he comes back round and he sees him initially. And he's like, oh no, what's this guy doing? But very quickly, he starts playing the drums again. And he's like, oh, hang on a minute. Okay, this guy's got some balls. He's come back in. And then as it gets better and as it starts to build up, and then, as you said, Sophie, Fletcher starts to go, oh, hang on a minute. This is sounding pretty bloody good. And I think in that moment, he's like, oh, hang on a minute. Are we back on track here? Have I actually got it in me? And has Naaman got it in him to actually become my Charlie Parker? And it's just that moment for both, isn't it? Where he hasn't planned it, Fletcher, but it's worked out very well for both of them, because he's seeing him. He's like, oh, here we go. The opportunity's back again. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but he's obviously special. I could see something in him from an early stage, hence why in my own warped mindset, I did the things I did to push him. And I think that, then there's the whole thing with the Sean Casey guy as well, isn't there? With, again, you see that sort of, that human side of him when he starts to break down. He's upset about him dying, and then you don't hear what actually happened to him. But he took someone who was rock bottom and he saw potential, and he got him up to the point where he was very successful and he was doing well, seemingly. So, as he said, he says about the idea of he's not going to ever find his Charlie Parker, but he gave it a go. And I think it's, again, without trying to drift onto the side of siding with Fletcher, there is something to that, isn't there? There is something, the idea of their relationship, and even though he's going about it completely the wrong way, he is giving these people, or giving these kids, a chance to be great, however you look at it. And from the outside looking in, you go, well, how far do you go? How is it worth it in the long term? In the Sean Casey guy's situation, well, no, because unfortunately, working with Fletcher got him to greater than he ever could have achieved by himself. But then he became depressed and suffered from severe anxiety from being with Fletcher for God knows how long. So it's it's good. It is a good ending. It's very good. It's very well put together.
It's kind of like I was saying this to Ben earlier. It's kind of like you've got two people who are so determined to achieve and become successful, such as your man Fletcher wants to be this greatest composer, whatever it is. What is it? Conductor. And you've got Naaman, who wants to be the best drummer. But Fletcher, in order to fuck over Naaman's career, is just say, right, I'm going to sabotage this point because this is going to reflect badly on me if he plays bad in the band. So he's willing to actually say, right, fuck it, just to fuck someone over. And it's just like, really, would you really go that far after everything you've worked for? Would you really do that? And in this case, yeah, you would. But then he comes back out. He comes back fighting. He comes back better. And he's just like, well, fuck you, Fletcher. I'm proving you wrong. And I just love that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Fletcher, deep down, he's got admiration for him, isn't he? Because he's like, oh, here we go. Yeah. That's what he wanted. That was we've come full circle, haven't we? The whole throwing the chairs, making him drum for 10 hours, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the car crashes. Everyone's come full circle, and in their own way, everyone's got to the point of where they're like, do you know what? Maybe this was all worth it, all this shit. So Fletcher's happy. He wanted to, initially, as I said, to ruin his career and humiliate him, but then he's like, oh, hang on a minute, no, I knew this kid was special. I'm getting what I want, maybe. And Naaman's back, and he's done his solo in front of the crowd, and you imagine that's going to lead to great success.
Yeah, the first time I watched that sequence, obviously, like, it was goes on for maybe 10 minutes or so. That whole solo he does and everything. It's like, and it's like mouth's kind of wow, this is yeah, this is it. This is the moment,
Mm.
and just like feels so happy for him that he's kind of doing this like intense thing, and just like I'm impressed with the fact that I couldn't fathom to do something of that caliber anyway
Yeah.
for any instrument type of thing. So the fact he's playing for this length of time, and he's like non-stop almost kind of thing, because like he plays a part of it and then he like does another like fill or whatever you call it, and it's like keeps going and going and going and going, and you like slow down. You kind of see that moment you mentioned earlier, Fiona, about the sweat on his ears and stuff. You see the sweat on the cymbals as it's kind of like slowing down in that one moment, and then it's kind of he's slowing down and the drums, and then Fletcher's coming in like, no, bring it back up kind of thing, because that they're in sync there at that point. So it's kind of like a bonding moment between them at that point, which I kind of think is like, yeah, yes, we're on the same level here now. You know what I want, and I know what you want.
It's
kind
like
of
a
thing.
love-hate relationship,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like it's quite an abusive love-hate relationship.
So I think it's really,
Yeah.
really poignant. Yeah.
Put
So
it
yeah,
mildly.
so then there's obviously like the finale, like a concert finale, like close it all off, and then it's done, and then that's that, and it's like, yeah, I think that's a satisfying ending for it, really. To
You know me, I like to like a little bit more.
what happened after?
Yeah,
Did
I
he
like.
get for bollocking after the fact?
They left it like that for a reason, though. They were going to put in an after scene after that, but they said that they wanted to leave it kind of open for just like their relationship still isn't healed. That's the way they wanted to leave it. That, yeah, fair enough. They did this big thing together, but their relationship was still really, really healed. It was never going to go back to being. It was never going to be a perfect relationship, say. So they wanted to leave it like that. Apparently, according to IMDb.
Oh, I think that's
Yeah.
that's what you need to
Yes.
do, don't
Yeah.
you? And the thing is, that's the point, though, isn't it? The relationships, I don't think it's ever, wherever they go, separately or collectively, they're never going to be. I don't think they're ever going to be best friends, are they? There's going to be that level of respect, because at the end of the day, they've achieved a certain point where actually, do you know what, I've done that, but I don't think old Fletcher's going to be coming around for dinner, is he? Anytime soon? Maybe. Who knows?
Unlikely, but
Maybe
yeah.
he will be. Maybe they're, I guess, yeah. As far as he goes, I suppose he might pop round, but yeah, I think it's one of those where you never want to hear any idea of a sequel or
Oh God, no.
like a spin-off or anything like that. You just leave it where it is.
Yeah, solid.
When
ending,
you were saying there,
and,
Paul, when he was like when he was slowing down the tempo and you could see the sweat on the drums and all that,
Yeah.
there was a part of me where I was just kind of like, oh God, oh no, he's going to fuck up, he's going to slip, there's something's going to happen there. Did any of you guys feel like that?
No, at that point, I feel like he was really in the zone, really, and I think he was like going just on pure adrenaline at that point, and he's kind of like almost like, right, I'm gonna keep him going, and proving a point almost
I was
throughout.
just wary of Fletcher, to be fair. I just didn't know how he was
He's
going to
gonna-
react.
yeah.
He's the one where one minute he's really nice and the next he's not. And it's just how he was going to. I know he had a big audience in front of him. I can imagine he would have reacted differently if the audience wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Behind closed doors, it would have
Yeah.
been maybe something completely different, perhaps. But I think it's that kind of thing that's showing face, really, at that point. But he kind of goes up and at one point. He's like, "What are you doing, man?" Like almost like a concerned moment, and he says like, "Oh, follow my cue," or whatever he says. So it's kind of like, "Oh, right, okay, yeah, we'll just go with it." Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's making him looked after at the moment, because obviously the drummer is doing his own thing. Nobody else of the band's playing, and Fletcher's like not waving his arms around because he's not knowing what he's meant to be doing.
So, yeah.
I think Fletcher knew, didn't he, that he was in the presence of greatness, didn't he? He knew that something, whatever was happening, he was
At
like,
that point,
well,
yeah.
I haven't seen this for a long time. Because however long he's been doing it, all the drummers he would have seen throughout his years, if it was anyone else, maybe he'd have gone, no, fuck this, and just, taken one of the sticks and just lobbed it and gone, get off. Like, what are you doing? Or just security, get this guy off. What's he doing? He's been booted off. But
Yeah.
he quite quickly realised that, oh, hang on a minute, this is pretty special. Actually.
Yeah.
And however you deem Fletcher, he loves music, doesn't he? He loves it. So he loves listening to music. So he's watching this guy do something special. He's like, well, do you know what? Yeah, I want to hear this. I want to see where this is going. Because you don't know where it's going, do you? Because it goes on for so long. You're like, how long is this going to go on for? Well, what's he going to do next? And he slows it right down. You're like, oh, is that it then? Oh, no, that's halfway through. Fucking hell, here we go. We've got some more to look forward to, right?
That's what I mean, yeah.
So it's, yeah, like Fletcher, I was just like, right, where are we going with this? Like, and that, as you said, Paul, he goes over and goes like, you're right. You're right, mate. You can
Yeah.
stop now. Oh no, we're just getting started. Here we go. Right.
Yeah,
So,
You may as well join in.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good. Really good.
yeah. So really good ending, and I think that is a pretty good point to talk about scores. I think
Yeah, I don't have one.
you don't have a score for
I'm
this
so
one.
unprepared. I'm gonna let our
Our
guests
guests,
normally
yeah.
go first,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I'm gonna be sat here thinking, what can I give this?
So as you know, it's out of 10. Obviously, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, as normal.
Yeah.
You would expect. So either of you two, or you can collectively do it, or however you want.
Well, IMBD went with 8.6 out of 10, which I think is an extremely fair. Very good. I would probably go a little bit further and give it a 9 out of 10. It was very enjoyable. It was tense. It was intense. It was just the dynamics of the relationship, the emotional, physical, all of that kind of manipulation, everything. Fletcher was just amazing. I don't think I will ever forget the quote. What was it? I will fuck you like a pig. I don't think I'll ever forget that quote. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yes, very powerful.
It was
Very,
amazing.
very powerful quote.
It was just brilliant. You just didn't expect them to come out with this. Like, if you deliberately do whatever, I will fuck you like a pig.
Yeah.
All right, Fletch, chill. But yeah, it was just amazing, and the acting spot on. Bunny.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to follow that. That was spellbinding. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to watch it from the point of view of someone who knows about drums and instruments and everything, just to see
Yes.
how faithful it is. Obviously, I can't do that, but I think as a film, and I think the performance from I think Miles Teller was good. I think he was good. I'm not a huge fan of Miles Teller. I don't know how many people are, but he's good. I can't dispute he's good in this.
Mhm.
I think the performance from J.K. Simmons is one of the best in recent times. I think it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I thought he won an Oscar, of course, so very much deserved. Yeah, I think I'd probably even go as high as 9.5 out of 10.
I think that's
I
fair.
think.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect film, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close, and it's very entertaining, and a film that with instruments and drums and stuff that I don't know anything about, to immerse you in the experience and to immerse you with the characters and the performances, where you don't know what's going on. They're playing the drums, they're doing stuff. You're like, is that good? Is that bad? Oh, fuck knows. I don't know. But you're all in. I was all in on it. I was like, do you know what? This is superb. So I think 9.5 out of 10. I think I've seen it a couple of times, but rewatching it, I was like, yeah, this film's actually pretty top notch. Didn't realize how good it was until I watched it. Watched it again. It's really, really good.
So for my score, it's going to be a 9. Similar, because this is the second time watching the film, and it stuck with me from the first time, and still stuck with me on a second viewing. Just really for J.K. Simmons' performance, really all the shouting, the swearing. There's a bucket load of expletives quotes that he has in the thing. It's just immense. Just how scary he comes across, really, and that's just a very strong character performance, like of the fact someone you love to hate, and you do want to see the drive, the passion for the lead character Andrew, going through all that. So it keeps you gripped throughout, really, and I'm interested in the whole music side of things anyway. I obviously can't play an instrument, but I still appreciate it no less. And obviously that last maybe 10 or so minutes with the music thing is just a great way to top off the film, really. And I can't really give it too much fault, really. I think just a solid watch for a 9 is a good place to put it, really. I think there's maybe little bits of improvements here and there you can maybe do. I don't know really what they are to hand, but La La Land is still a 10 for me, really. There's a lot more in that to enjoy, but from the same director, it's not a bad place to put him, really, for under that for a first film. So
Okay, I feel like you've really, really left me till last here, so I'm like, okay, I've heard everyone's thoughts. I can get easily swayed, you know me. It's really bad. Like a little sheep going, oh, everyone thinks it's good. I must say it's good. Like,
no,
right.
you just be honest.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
My opinion matters,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
So, for me, I think Fletcher is like one of those baddies that you kind of he's like really, really a horrible character.
Mhm.
You can't really you like him because he's like really funny with his effing and jeffings, but
Yeah.
you can't really like want him in your life as a person.
No.
So because I couldn't cope. And then Andrew, I think he's not such a lovable character. He's not like he kind of gets to a bit of an arrogancy for me where he thinks he's better than people. And he's like, oh, I can't, like, for example, with his girlfriend, I can't possibly be with you, Nicole, because now I've got to focus on being the best drummer in the world. And, like, kind of really self-absorbed. So there's no, like, Sam Wise Ganji, you know, or whatever his name is from Lord of the Rings or whichever he is in, you know, where he's just got, like, a heart of gold. There's nobody in there that's like, oh, I really love this character and would like him to actually be in my life. Like, I wouldn't want Fletcher in my life. So the drumming side of things is, I'm the same with Ben. I would love to know if people are actually drumming correctly, like the people with the saxophones and everything like that.
Yeah.
That would be really fascinating. I think it'd add a little bit more value to me. I think Fletcher's performance is the most best one. I don't really know. You said Andrew Newman, whatever his actual name is. I was like, I know him, but I don't know what I've seen him in.
Yeah, all I could think of was that Fan 4 stick, that abomination.
He's in Footloose as well.
I've never seen
He's
that.
in the remake of Footloose 2011. He's in Project X. What else is he in?
He's in that god awful one with Jonah Hill. One where they sell guns or sell ammo.
War Dogs, was it, or something?
I don't know.
He was in what was it? What was that film series? Divergent. I think he was in that. I saw the first one of those. I think there's 3 of them. There's a trilogy, I think, of Divergent. I think my mum watched them, the trilogy, and yeah, I tapped out after the first one. I was like, no, not for me. No thanks.
No.
So I'm not a big fan
he's
of
been
him, I
in
guess.
a few, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think this is the main one I've seen him because I can't remember the one you're mentioning, Paul, that I have apparently seen.
I don't blame you, to be honest. It was rubbish.
So I can't remember that. So I think overall, for the strength of the film and everything, I'm going to go and you look. Why do you do that face?
No, sorry.
I'm going to go in 8.5. I don't think it's a solid 9 because you said La La Land, and then I got my hopes up and was like, oh my God, it's going to be a musical. There's going to be a love story. And it's nothing like La La Land. La La Land's a 10 for me. And this, I just don't think you can put it in the same for me, personally.
No, you shouldn't have to do the director shouldn't have to do the same.
No, but just personally from a preference, I would say La La Land. I would rewatch La La Land. I don't know. Unless I'm in a bad mood, I think I'd want to watch this film. Because I won't want, like, if I was in a happy mood and then Fletcher was just yelling, I don't know.
Put you on a downer. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. So 8.5. Yeah.
8.5.
Cool. So happy with that.
I've only seen La La Land once. Need to rewatch that actually. La La Land. Have you seen La La Land?
Yeah. I don't like musicals. So yeah,
Do
no.
you not?
Yeah, no, I don't like musicals.
It's a revelation to me.
I don't like them.
Huh.
No, what was that one with Anne Hathaway in? Oh,
What, Les Mis?
oh, that's terrible.
You made me watch that, didn't
That
you?
was horrific.
I've only seen that
Yeah,
once.
it was okay. It was okay. I've saw that once. I don't want to
I'm
shout
not
about it.
Big fan of musicals, but I think La La
Not when
Land
you're
would
singing
be...
all the time, because obviously with La La Land there was a bit of singing here and there. But
Also,
then,
you're biased because you love Emma Stone.
Well, yeah, well, of course, yeah.
I think when I watched La La Land, I think I was after coming off a couple of night shifts, and it was like what I used to do on my last night. I wouldn't sleep, so I think I just put it on in the background, and I just didn't really watch it, and all I could hear was singing, and I was just like, no, I don't like this. And I think that, so I don't think I actually watched
Probably
it.
do a rewatch then, I'd
Yeah,
say.
probably.
Like, watching it under those conditions,
definitely,
I'd say, give it a rewatch.
But it's like Wizard of Oz. I don't like Wizard of Oz because of the music in it.
Oh,
Yeah,
you can't say
Oh,
I know.
come on.
Sorry.
Come on. It's a classic.
Sorry.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, the director, he's got some decent films, hasn't he? He's only done what? He's got his 4th one, is he coming out? His 4th film? Yeah, he's done 3 at the moment. Yeah, I think Babylon is his next film, which is coming out next year. I don't actually know what that's about. I think it's set in the 1920s. But he's doing all right. Doing all right for himself. He's got a pretty good he's off to a good start anyway in terms of feature films.
Yeah, in his career, yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
I haven't seen First Man yet. I know that's another one with Ryan Gosling in in space, but I don't really know what that's.
I don't want to
be.
watch that. You've already not sold it for me.
No.
I don't like space films. I just think they're really boring. Just floating around. Not much you can do, is there?
I've seen
I
it.
guess not, but
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's more, you get some space stuff, but you get a lot more of seeing him interacting with his family and how it affects them when he goes into space and stuff. So it's again, very well made film.
okay.
It is a little bit boring in places, but
What film did you make me watch? Was it Sandra Bullock or somebody?
Oh,
that
Gravity
yeah, she was just there in space on her own, and
with was George Clooney in that as well?
I don't know.
Floating
Yeah,
around.
just floating around. It just felt like she was just.
yeah, George.
Yeah, it
Constantly
was just the two
floating.
characters. Yeah.
I don't even remember George. Can't
I
believe
think
I'm
he
saying
died
that.
at the beginning. I think, if I remember correctly. But
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, he floats off about half hour in. Spoiler. Sorry everyone.
Just floats off.
And then you think he comes back. You're like, oh George, and no, it doesn't turn out. To be. Oh yeah, I think Gravity was just. I think it was just Alfonso, wasn't it? It was Alfonso Cuarón, wasn't it? Was that who directed?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was just him going like, look what I can do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was again. It looked. I'm not a. I've got a bit of an issue with CGI, but that I think it was a lot of it was practical, other than the fact they weren't actually in space. Spoiler alert.
No,
I think I think it was more just look what I can do. Look at this, rather than was it actually a good film? Maybe not, but it looked pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
It looked
yeah.
pretty close to being in space.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Mm.
Right, before we go, guys, would you like to plug your show and tell us where you can find you on the socials?
Go on then, Fiona. This is
Okay.
the only thing that you do for the podcast. So
Yep.
off you go.
Yeah, so you can find us on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram. We are occasionally on TikTok, but not very often.
Okay, right, slow down a little bit. We're not on film vloggers.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. And we always do this in such a rush.
Yes.
What was that thing called? Goodreads. No, Good Pods.
Good pods, yes.
Yep.
Yes, we're all on good pods, yes.
There we go. We're on that. We do occasional game flogger, but I fucking hate it.
Bringing
so
it back.
We don't do it.
We're going to bring it back over Christmas,
And
maybe.
we're on, obviously, Spotify, Apple Tunes Place. What's it called?
Yes.
Apple Tunes?
Apple Pods, Apple Podcasts,
There we
yes.
go. That's where you can find us.
In terms of interacting with us, I'm mostly on Twitter. We've got Instagram as well, as Fiona said, but in terms of day-to-day interactions, I'm mostly on Twitter. So if you want to, it's me. So it's not Fiona, unfortunately. It's me who does all the social media. So
I couldn't deal with that.
if you want to talk to Fiona, then I can maybe pass a message along. But it's me on the social media. So, but yeah, so that's where you can.
Such like us.
Yeah, so that's where you can find us. But yeah, anything else?
Yeah, watch out for our Vlogmas coming up.
Oh, of course, yes.
Get to hear me
Vlogmas.
sing.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Don't spoil it.
No, I won't.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've just finished doing 31 horror films in 31 days over October, which was challenging to say the least, but it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. And so we've got Vlogmas coming up, so it's very original. We just take vlog and just put it in front of a holiday, and that's how we make our titles. It's very clever.
Vlogatine.
So yeah, not it's not going to be quite 24 films, but we're doing 12, hopefully. So
no more than 12.
Well, we'll see what happens.
No more.
So yes, that's us.
Yeah, look forward to hearing those. I really enjoyed the month of October, and I don't know, I was a guest on one of those, biased, of course, on one of those, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that anyway.
Can't wait to see what films you've got for Christmas, since I'm only allowed 3. Well, yeah, still need to talk about that because I really don't think it's 3. I think it's 2 technically. So I think I'm just going to go and join Ben and Fiona and leave you on your own.
Yeah, if you need an extra guest, she's the queen of Christmas, so you should be more than happy to be talking about Christmas films.
They won't shut me up.
Well, I think it's only appropriate if we organise an episode with Sophie and Fiona. I think with me and Paul have done our episode. I'm sure it's that makes sense.
All right, have a lovely evening, guys.
Thank you so much.
No
pleasure. Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys.
See you
later.
Bye.
Bye.
So, if you'd like to check out all our other episodes in the lead up to our 100th episode, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from. And of course, if you want to reach out to us on social media, we are on Instagram and Twitter under the handle SP_film viewers.
So thank you so much for listening to our episode. Don't forget to check out Film Bloggers as well. They're amazing, and I think it's amazing how, to be fair, Ben is Paul and I am Fiona, so it works out quite well. So definitely go and listen to their stuff. Obviously they've already told you where to go, so go check them out and go and check out their Christmas part as well. Can't wait to start ours.
Yeah, I'm sure you can't wait to
Counting down the
start
days.
those, yeah.
So we're not wanting to disappoint anybody. However, we will be having a little bit of a breather just so that we're getting into the Christmas spirit and everything like that. Sophie needs to decorate her house with all the decorations. We'll take pictures, don't worry. But what that means is obviously we're coming up to 100 episodes at the end of the year. We're actually going to have like only 3 episodes coming, and we're not going to be airing one next week.
Yeah, in November. So it's to allow enough Christmas joy for Miss Wilkinson over here, and the fact that we are away this next weekend anyway.
Yes. So,
or the weekend when this episode will come out. But anyway, yeah, we're taking a week off basically. But we do have a small announcement which we'll let you know in due course. It's kind of special.
It is. It's really special to us, for
so,
us.
Yeah.
And it's really festive as well. And it can kind of show what Christmas should mean.
Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening once again. And we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.